live, and thank you for joining us. Happy 11/11. Wonderful to see you both in the YouTube room, and to Kevin and Salish in the chat. I hope all is well with every one of you. I'm really excited about channeling the unicorns. I was meditating here, and they just have an awesome energy. So I think that will be an interesting experiment. But I think announcements. There's a new homepage and a booking system you can go. And I want to thank the Patreons for the last time, because I'm moving over to a system called Coffee, and it's much nicer. And there will be like new features and stuff. But I'll keep you posted on that. And then just to patrons, Glenn, Ian, Evan, Jennifer, Assen, Crystal, Mandy, Tony Veritas, Laurie, Salish, Stephen, Sophia, Kevin, Natalie, and also to Patrice and Suzanne for your generosity. And of course, an extra thanks to Kevin for moderating and being here and holding the reins almost literally today. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to these lovely unicorns, and let's check in with their palpable presence. I'm much looking forward to that. So love to everyone out there. Have a good one, and thanks for being here and co-creating. We are very happy to be joining you, human beings. We are very, very, very happy to be joining you. We come from, we could call them the fairy lands, where, there's a lot of magic. There's a lot of wonder. There is a lot of special things that you can experience by connecting to our energy. And we would let you know that if you are seeing unicorns, if you are feeling the unicorn energy present in your life approaching you, perhaps simply it's an image of a unicorn, perhaps you are imagining us riding across the meadows in our majestic and beautiful way, you are approaching truth in your life. You are coming closer to the essence of you, because we are those beings that carry human beings forward through the fantasy realms, protected, and into the connection between the wider imagination, your ability to create, and then this reality of yours, this space that sometimes seems a little too dense, as something that cannot quite be managed, as something that's forcing you and throwing you about. And those things are definitely something that can be changed. We are here to say it can be changed. We hold the power of magic. And the power of magic is exactly your ability to create from your will, from that pure, pristine vibration of you. You are already all you need to be. But what you are uncovering, what we are helping you to discover, is that once you get up to a higher vantage point, once you get on the back of the unicorns, you will feel that you are being aided and assisted. You're being carried towards these magical creations that your natural vibration wants to create. And isn't that spectacular? That is very, very wonderful for us. We are already aware that our friend here, he likes to also place these energies he works within systems. And he has been asking us, what dimension are you? Where do you exist? And we do exist, rather, we could call them in interdimensional spaces. We don't like to focus in any one particular place. We rather like to facilitate connection between the all. But if you want to say, where do we hail from? Where is this vibration coming from? It is from the 11th dimension, where everything is possible, everything is present, and everything is personalized. This is the space of pure magic creation, and this is the energy that we bring to you this day. So with the deepest love of the unicorns, we greet you, we bless you, and we look forward to meeting your energy and letting that carry us into wonders as we discover these wonders together. Thank you so much for your beautiful presence and the wonderful gift of your existence, sweet human beings. Now, we do understand that there may be some questions that have emerged from this wonderful cauldron of your mind, and those we are very happy to answer. We thank you again, our love.
Hello, and thank you for coming today.
Thank you, dear friend.
Our first questions come from Sophia. She asks, I was attuned to unicorn Reiki earlier. Any advice on how I use it?
Yes. Well, you let yourself be carried away with it. You find that zest for it, that enthusiasm. You also perhaps may sense that different types of, we could say, white rocks may be helpful for you to facilitate this connection. You could use something as basic as polished limestone, but would that really be fun? We would say selenite would be ideal, this rock that's connected to the moon energy, because we're very connected to the cycles of the moon. And we are also coming to you in a space where we are riding these waves of lunar energy into your lives. You have felt a very strong and often upsetting influence of the moon that, well, has put you, let's say, in more fragile places. Here we are not addressing the sweet individual named Sophia that is posing this question. We are rather addressing the collective. But we would say that she has, as all parts of the collective, also been reflecting these energies in her life. And a way that you can transmute these energies is exactly to allow for us to enchant this energy, thereby the moon energies, rather than being stirring, rather than being upsetting to you, there will be something that you can work with. And we would encourage you to do vibrations. We would encourage you also to splay open your torso. That is to the widest degree that you are able to uplift your collarbones, tuck in your chest, and then allow for the spaciousness to move into your chest cavity, imagining that the full moon is sitting there, radiating its light into you, this pure crystalline white light that it gains from the sun and then transmutes into something beautiful, mystical, gentle. This is the way that you can use this. Then you take your hands and you allow for this energy to be absorbed into the palms of your hands. You allow for this moon to actually, we could say, duplicate, triplicate itself into your beautiful palm surfaces. And there you can then begin to, let's say, shoot magic arrows of wonder, shoot this wonderful lunar energy into the places you want to, projecting it into those spaces to heal, illuminate, enlighten, restore. All these beautiful qualities are something that we are very happy to lend our energy to. So we thank you for that question, and we encourage you to have fun working with this energy. Our gratitude.
Thank you for that. And her second question reads, any advice on my parents' health?
Yes. Notice that you are terming them your parents. This is an interesting thing for us. Being more flock animals as we are, that human beings tend to form these partnerships. And so, of course, to the offspring of such a union, you being their child, you will perceive them more as a unity, let's say, duality of sorts that exists by having interwoven itself so much that it has become this, your parents. Also, to much of the outside world, they appear as a couple. That is, people who seem to be very unified in their energies. But you may find that as they begin to move into old age, and as they therefore also begin to express or experience some of these, we could say, breakdown symptoms of the physical condition, that is quite natural. All is as it should be. But you may actually want to consider that the parent that is less ailing in any given situation, that is not dealing with something, and we sense it's your mother at present, that it would be good for her to then actually divert herself and her attention into other activities that are, we could say, more centered around her own sense of what she wants and what she likes. So notice what we are actually encouraging is not your mother to be selfish. What we are encouraging is that then the energy that her partner actually needs, she will be the one to restore this and bring this into the union. And this is the great service they can do each other. So we are aware that when human couples, they sometimes experience that one is ailing, and then you do, because you are empathetic beings, this type of, we could say, synchronistic alignment where one is participating in the suffering of the other. But that is not the greatest service you can do to your partner or to your spouse. The greatest service you can do is to be the one then, if the other one is lying bedridden at home, to be the one that goes out and gathers the fruits and berries and the delicious hay out there in the meadows, and then brings it back to restore this wonderful spouse that they love to health. And they may even bring some stories about what they saw out there, the birds chirping in the trees, some beautiful things they can bring back to their ailing partner. So that is our general advice for your parents at this moment. So you, as their daughter, you can helpfully encourage them to keep on the path of restoring, constantly reliving their favorite interests, and perhaps even opening a little to, we could say, senior activities, things that they may be interested in that would help them. And we are sensing, for instance, that different types of gentle gymnastics may be things that they would, with some prodding, actually be quite happy to go into. So with that, we transmit our love to you, to your parents, and to all of you.
Great, thank you. So she's got one final question, and then I'm going to move on to Salish's questions. She asked if there's any personal advice for her.
Yes, our advice is for you to also climb up on the back of fantasy. And we mean fantasy in the widest possible vision of imagination. This is what we are implying. That is, that you would do well to think in grander, fantastic terms, to envision first and then question later, because to take off from the ground, all you have to do is to truly, deeply stop believing in gravity. And this is essentially what you are doing. We are reminding you, we are encouraging you, we are spurring you on, we could say, to again envision things. And the distraction is simply that our friend here is thinking that all these equestrian metaphors related to horses are quite peculiar. So we will simply return to the point that you would do well in having these grand visions move you, stir you, really think, what could I possibly want for myself in the greatest, highest possible vision, in the greatest allowance of all that I want? What is it that I want to attain? And then do not stir this with second guessings. Keep a type of treasure chest within your mind, within your heart, within your beautiful body. Keep this treasure chest locked and only accessible to those serene, visionary, deep, wonderful parts of you that are willing to accept the reality of wonder. That is our encouragement to you, dear one. And we are happy to carry you into the reality of your vision. Our love, our blessings.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Salish asks, what have the unicorns got to say and suggest regarding my recent Kundalini awakening and enhance its power?
Yes. Well, we have congratulations to extend. That is, you may find that this is actually something that your life has been building up to. Notice then that what is happening is that this is a type of explanatory point. This is a point that you have merged into that makes the crises that you have experienced in your life, the shifts, the turbulences, the disappointments, the trials, all these things seem to be explained by the movement towards this event. And this is what we would like to direct you into, this flow of unity that is merging into you. You will experience it. We sense primarily as a mental awakening first. That is, this energy can be stirred through different centers, and depending on how you are configured, you may find that it will begin to activate more of your natural code. This is essentially what is going on. This means that you may find yourself reminiscing. You may find yourself thinking odd, new, strange thoughts, and you may find that these things are actually trying to piece the total experience of your life and also past lives that you will begin to remember. They are piecing these together. And there we encourage you to mobilize the power that you would want to support this activity with. We would encourage you to, again, actually beat your chest. We are transmitting the image of a silverback gorilla, these wonderful, very large mammals that are quite familiar to you human beings in structure, that notice the power that they have. Notice that whenever they feel stirred by something on the outside, they will simply begin to stir and awaken their heart energy. And their heart energy is not only this, let's say, soft, cuddly, caring energy. It is that too, but it is also something that is incredibly assertive of your own vibration, that we could say beats the inner vibe of you out into outer nature. So you may actually want to express this through different powerful techniques. We are also sensing then that, well, different ways of going out into the nature, kicking objects. Don't kick anything that's too hard for your toes, but having this feeling that pushing, kicking, exerting energy where you can, even in a boyish way, would be very helpful to you. That is our encouragement. And know that you are very supported by this. There are many guides reaching in and wanting you to move this state into something that serves you and others. And this is the natural way that you will go. So have faith in this process, our love and our blessings.
Great, thank you. So his second question reads, what are the most probable paths of my spiritual progress for the near term and long term, and if they are able to suggest or advise me?
Yes, we would say that what actually happens with this Kundalini experience is that it is often a cessation of karmic energy. It is trying to resolve those patterns of karmic energy that are very strong in most human beings, but they are loosening their grip on you. So you may actually sense that in the longer term, you are gaining much more determination of where you want to go. And we would say that there is a type of gift of sharing that is coming forward to you in that future that we are predicting. But it is for you to uncover that wonder, to find where X marks the spot on the map, and then go dig up the treasure chest. And that is, we sense in the short term, also a clue, hint, hint, that you may want to get on boats, ships. You may want to look into sailing, and it may want to be something as simple as, well, taking a trip on a tour of the river or something that's quite close to you. But then notice how this actually will open up quite a lot of memories, because we are sensing here a sailor's energy, the energy of exploring the waves, braving the waves, looking for new adventures. And this, we sense, will then guide you into other pursuits, other things that you want to learn in this lifetime of yours. Have fun with it. And again, envision yourself in your highest capacity of wonder, and then let this capacity of wonder determine your path forward. Our love.
Great, thanks. And then he just chimed in that he's going to Egypt in February and going down the Nile. And then he had a third question that maybe you can dovetail into it, is what are the most relevant messages my higher self has for me?
Yes, we are very happy that you chimed in with this, because we now sense also that the lady with the rattle is there. That is this Lady Isis that have become quite present. She will guide you in this, and what she is guiding you to is also to integrate these visionary states of yours that will begin to grow. You may even sense it. You go to Egypt, that you will find yourself rather overwhelmed by some of the missions. You will find that some of your dreams will become quite strange. And that is why she is telling you that this is a natural process. This is something that she is guiding you to. And then we sense also the beings known as the Hathors, which we sense are very invested in your energy field and are beings that are very interested in your energy configuration. That is, they are also someone who enjoy to guide people through the Stargate. So the more you can aim for this Stargate movement, remembering that the base of the pyramid is wide, so it can support the one-pointedness in those high altitudes where it's situated. These are patterns that your higher self would very much like you to look into, knowing that you also enjoy a good treasure hunt. So therefore, we are sensing that it is communicating that you are very ready to follow these clues, and they're following the Nile down to its mystical origins in the far south. That is in and of itself a mission of uncovering both parts of the world, but also parts of you. And that is a type of pilgrimage that you are undertaking. So we send you good fortunes on your path. We sense that this will be a winning good time. This will be something that will really, really surprise you. Let the element of surprise be your guide home to yourself. Our love and the love from your higher self, with many blessings to you and everyone.
Excellent. That was very comprehensive for him. So thank you. I'd like to ask 2 questions and then I'll pop over to the YouTube. So when I and many others think of unicorns, I think we correlate them with the Fae. And then it's come to my understanding that in ancient times, Druid times, pagan times, pre-pagan times, that the Fae, they lived among us. And then unfortunately, when Christianity came, they, looked to uproot things that didn't align with the truth that they were trying to put to the world. And the Fae basically fled to the 5th dimension. So could you go into a little bit of detail of that history and also talk about the time period that we're now re-entering, known by some as the return of the Fae?
They are very tricky beings. This is often why you align with our energy when you work with the Fae. Notice that we ourselves also, knowing a few tricks as we do, we prefer to also install ourselves in the imagery of Christianity. So within this truth, there were codes embedded that were, we could say, sleeper agents, things that people could still use to return to our wonder, to our energy. But do not be fooled by the Fae, because they never lived amongst you. What they did was that they allowed you to experience them as living amongst you. Well, what's the difference here? The difference is that you live in the belief in life and death. You live in the belief in certain material densities. And this belief is so strong that it is actually something that keeps you bound into this reality. And so therefore, when you are moving into this understanding, the Fae returning, it has to do with this belief becoming more loose, because what was evident for the ancients was that there was a type of world surrounding them that was inhabited by beings that would accompany them, would move into their life, would join them when they needed to, actually often in day-to-day activities. Sometimes they would come and stay in a village for a few years, but the Fae were never bound to this reality. They are not born and they will not die. They are created from source, and therefore, when they seek to renew their shapes, they simply take on another shape or enter into another timeline. So that is a very helpful way of thinking about it. It is rather a type of projection that makes into your reality that is so strong that it makes them seem like quite dense beings. But the question is that when you deal with the Fae, you would always want to keep your wits about you. You would always want to have an intention and know that any type of pretension, that is any type of thing that you may be telling yourself, they will very, very often make a type of mockery of, and they will do so in a playful, happy way. But often when you sense playful synchronicity emerging, often when you sense the forces of chaos growing and forcing you to confront things about yourself, such as, for instance, all of a sudden cleaning out your closets and finding that there's a lot of past moving into your space. This is also, we could say, a Fae-like energy, an energy that insists on you watching everything that has been swept between under the carpet. And therefore, the secret is to know their name, to know the truth, to know that they really do enjoy very, very straightforward intentions, really do enjoy empowered individuals who do not waver in their resolve. That is the encouragement, because they are quite easy to invite into your life. You will find that all you need to do is to put out something sweet in a place where it can be found, and a spirit of sorts will join you in your life. We promise that that will happen, but it will always show up at an unexpected time to test if you still have tea and jam ready for it, even an unexpected guest. We thank you very much for that beautiful question, our friend. And the love we transmit, we assure you that we also protect you when you walk in these fantasy realms that can often seem a little scary, a little on the edgy side of the fairy tale, we could say.
Yeah, excellent. And just as a confirmation, there was or still is a leprechaun being we call Meta, that we left some grains and some sweets and a little bit of shot of booze and a little bit of cannabis flower, and definitely felt the energies behind it, and a lot of that stuff was definitely physically gone. So that's really cool. My second question is about children and wonder and belief in magic and unicorns. And I was wondering if there's a game or a tool that I could use with them to help them keep their belief alive as they grow and emerge into societal patterns.
It's a very beautiful question, dear friend. And what we could say is that to allow them to roam in open spaces without any restriction is the best instruction that we can give. That is, we could say, playing the trick of playing a game that has no rules. Because the reason that children connect so well to us is because they are often boundlessly inventive. They have a deep sense of wonder. They do not necessarily understand or believe that death is something that has to occur. They do not necessarily understand why you have to show up at an appointed hour, or why you have to sleep at 7 to 9 hours in one go at night, or why you have to have a set number of meals. All these things that human beings, or we could say adults, often learn to take for granted, that are actually collective programs that you have built. And so it is through simply maintaining their deprogramming that they connect to our energy. And so moving into a very open space, a space that has very few, hopefully no reminders of, let's call it the adult world, the world where things are already set in stone, and they're encouraging them to play animals, play fairies, play superheroes, play their favorite vision and embody it. This is the expression that we encourage. Other spaces that you can use, this will be more akin to, for instance, those wonderful mermaids that we also use. But is that if you have access to bodies of water, these are also very helpful for playing around in and uncovering this energy. And essentially, if any of you adults want to join them, or any of you adults want to have the experiment yourself, then this is the way to do it. Go somewhere. We sense for most adults it would be preferable, it would be somewhere that other adults couldn't see you. And then play as if you were a chipmunk or a badger or whatever you prefer to be your favorite animal. How does it feel to be your favorite animal? That is our encouragement, our dear beloved human beings.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So before I go to YouTube, Anson just popped on and posted a question, so I want to get to this here real quick. I have a hard time accepting responsibility for my life because it feels there's too much to do, i.e. managing my awakening and 3D life. This leads to unmet expectations, as miracles are not yet common and I have not objectively created what I wanted, which causes resentment against my higher self. How can I move past this? Thanks.
We would like to reflect back to you. We are not calling you a liar, but we are saying that that's an incredibly responsible question to be asking for someone who's not assuming responsibility for their life. So what we are saying is that there is a truer way of you perceiving yourself, because notice that these expectations that go unmet, these are expectations that actually do not need to be met. That is, your higher self is quite aware that one of the lessons that you are seeking to learn to access this layer of manifestation, this life that you want to create, your higher self is aware that a block for you even enjoying that is that, well, you still feel there are expectations you need to meet. And what it really wants to restore you to is a state where this concern dissipates. Because what you will find when this concern dissipates is that you will have far more energy available to actually meet those expectations. And you will find that those expectations don't seem to be boundaries, impediments. They don't seem to be things that you then need to do. Rather, they seem to be things that you would actually like to do. So we could say it is the simple difference of allowing yourself to not answer an email that you feel you need to have to answer, and then discover that simply because you gave yourself the gift of not feeling obligated, now you actually feel like you can answer that email from a space where it flows effortlessly to you. This is a very mundane example, but you will notice, for instance, that when you begin to shed these expectations of what has to come, what needs to be attained before something is complete, then you begin to actually allow for the energy to flow in and create what it wants to create, because your higher self refuses to be put in a box, so to speak. Your higher self is the one putting you in its box, we could say. That is, from our perspective and from the perspective of your guides, this is indeed how it looks like. That is, you are contained within your higher self. And therefore, it really wants to reach you. It really wants to communicate with you. And what our encouragement to you is to step back, relax, and be patient. And know that the more patience you have with yourself, the more you will be assisted to move away what is unwanted for you and deal with what is wanted for you. This is a deep realization you are moving into. And then we will also say that your higher self doesn't rest on its laurels. So as soon as you have created that life you want, there you will find that new problems will await you. So enjoy to the capacity that you feel you can the problems you have at this moment, because they are the exact problems that hold the solutions to reconfigure yourself. And notice how deep, how conscientious, how much of a truth seeker you are. So in the way that you deal and approach with these things, you are quite relentless in your pursuit of self-improvement. And this is a clear sign that there is no turning back for you, that this is the mission you have set yourself on. And a part of that is dealing with frustration. And we could then also say, with these energies, you have been experiencing many frustrations, many of you, for the past months, and you may sense, especially on this wonderful day, this portal day of 11/11, that you are opening up to this influx of your higher self, this adventure that never ceases, which is the true quality of your experience. So know that you are guided, know that you are blessed, and know that you are loved, dear one. And we thank you for your question and for seeking out wisdom.
Thank you. Yeah, that resonates. I guess it's a bit difficult right now because I feel like I have those box moments constantly, almost like separated by maybe hours. And it could be just my ego. It could be the boogeyman that were mentioned in the last monthly reading, but in those moments it just feels like how to get out somehow. It's like, oh, sabotage work or sabotage something else, but I just don't want to be in this. Feels like it's gonna keep coming.
Yes, we registered that our friend here had a little of a hard time hearing everything, but that we sense that in many of these moments that seem to come in very regular, very rapid intervals, you are feeling a deep sense of imprisonment. Partially, we will say what you are manifesting stems from different karmas. Some of them are your personal trajectories. We sense a lifetime here as a pearl diver. This would have been in the area around the Yucatan Peninsula. We actually sense a different one in a different part of the world that is more related to, we believe, the islands known as the Maldives, but it is essentially you undergoing immense pressure. And these were lives where you were forced into the depths. So what we would like to encourage you is to surrender to the light that wants to find you. Know that there is an angel, a personal guiding angel of yours. She's right here. And Nilavel, she calls her Nilavel. We sense that she is here, and that we will hope that you will let her palm rest on your chest and transmit consoling energy in these moments, surrendering it to her, because she will carry you out of this. And then we will say there are also, we could say, some family karmas, some expectations that you are being asked to meet, that you are learning how to both honor and also to distance yourself from. And that is, again, the less you care, the more you can actually perform. So it is actually you being more, we will use this term slightly ironically, devil may care, you being more indifferent to the way you think you should be and the expectations that you are being met with, the more you will actually find that those expectations will shift, and you will suddenly find yourself in a situation that feels very different.
Thanks so much. Yeah, that's just what I needed to hear.
And thank you. We are also turning up the volume in case you want to ask more questions.
Yeah. I guess that does make sense, and that does resonate deeply. I guess just after hearing you and some of the monthly channeling, some inner patterns of worry that I'm working through seem to come up, and I can what I'm going through as almost like a straight line that sort of doesn't end, like it just keeps going. But I guess, yeah, it's maybe about also just realizing there's hope, but maybe not in the near future, and being okay with that. That makes sense.
This is a very beautiful point, because you will notice, and this is described in all different spiritual traditions in different ways, but that as soon as you surrender to the hopelessness, then hope comes back and finds you. But there is, of course, a trick where you can't pretend that you do that. You actually have to accept whatever is going on in the moment. And there we will remind you also that your energy is a young one. Your soul is an old one, but it is in the situation of a young human being, and in a situation in a young human being that has faced many challenges in that way. So you are essentially matching up in this lifetime your spiritual awakening with your ascent into manhood, to deep responsibility and capability. And that is very, very demanding. So that is essentially also a reminder that what you have created for yourself is something that you can handle because you are incredibly powerful. Otherwise, you would not have been able to withstand those depths that you have dived into. And that is deepest, not a consolation, but a confirmation that you are right where you want to be.
Thank you. And thank you, Nads, as well. It's just so amazing. I wait for your videos to just pop up, and it resonates throughout the month as I'm going through stuff. So thank you for that.
He thanks you, and we thank you, and our love and our blessings.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So Yokin369 asks, hello, do you think plant medicines like ayahuasca and psilocybin could heal a beginning or already manifested Alzheimer's disease? Or maybe you have another tip for healing Alzheimer's. Thank you.
Yes, this is a very interesting question. We would say, from our perspective, that is the perspective of the higher dimensions, you will sense, just checking these weird things that are popping up, very Alzheimer-like, that there is a type of disconnection in the Alzheimer's state of mind. It is, we could say, often the result of disconnected patterns that have then become so ingrained in the physical mind that it begins to manifest this very present state of awareness, this discontinued state of awareness. What these plant medicines do is more that they create a type of portal for awareness to move through. And so you will not necessarily experience that the Alzheimer's ceases to be. You may find, if you were to perform some of those scans that you can do with some of those technologies you have, you may find that you would see plant, we mean actually brain matter, brain tissue begin to restore itself. But the thought patterns that are trained within this brain structure, they would still be slightly discontinuous. Senile is another word we believe for it because it's sometimes related to these states of being an elder person. But what you would experience is also then that these fractured moments, these discontinued moments, they focus on something that's more pleasant. So the person who has the Alzheimer's will perhaps recall fonder childhood memories or regress to, let's say, a higher, more positive state of themselves than they would if they were not touched by these energetic influences. So these plant medicines actually work more on, we could say, clearing out and restoring the energy field of the person. Also clearing out and restoring some of the physical vitality, but on the very mental level, which is the level that human beings tend to focus on, this ailment manifesting, there you may sense that they are still quite skid-like in the way that they focus. And we would say, what's the problem with that? If you've spent an entire life trying to keep track of things, isn't it nice that you get a chance to be a little confused or just attached to whatever thoughts you have? We are aware, of course, that late stage symptoms of this can mean that the person begins to also not quite know who they are. And there we can say that these plant medicines can then not necessarily cure them, but they can severely delay those states of, let's say, very detrimental systems to the person's well-being. So you will find that it is perhaps more of a sweet and confused person that you are dealing with than a person who is very lost and dealing with that and registering that's unpleasant for them. And then you can essentially, of course, cure everything. Miracles can happen. You can focus on that. But it is difficult exactly because when these patterns have established themselves, they do have a tendency to then play out. But the more you can keep that vision of that person alive, the more it also helps them. So we hope, we sense that this was an illuminating answer. And we do encourage you to look into this work because there are a lot of benefits that could benefit people who are dealing with this affliction, as you may see it as. Our love to you for that question, and our blessings to anyone suffering in this moment. Know that you are being held by angelic arms that guide you and soothe you even in your darkest hours. Our love.
Very good. Thank you. Angel Wings asks, I resonate with the unicorn consciousness a lot. Any guidance can you offer me? I feel you're a part of my mythic star family. Love you, my unicorns. Thank you.
We most certainly are. It is very interesting. The vessel here translating our energy is noting that it is as if no advice is forthcoming. It is a quite strange experience to him. And that is because our advice is to create the spaciousness, to turn yourself into a type of, again, open field, to create as much spaciousness as you possibly can in your mind, in your body, in your physical space, to even seek out flatlands is the image, anything that will allow yourself to feel as if the horizon is never ending. And here you will find that we will reach out to you and you will find yourself moving into a sense of expansive relaxation, which is the state that you would like to attain. So that is why this peculiarity that our advice is essentially to seek out the nothing. That is to seek out a space where nothing impedes you, and there to feel the love within you and the guidance and love coming to you from us and other sweet and loving beings. Our gratitude for you undertaking this work, this process, this connection. Blessings.
Thank you. Yana of Appreciation asks, how do I open my cells to prana like breatharians do? How can I make my focus steadier and stronger in this process? Thank you.
Appreciation is always a good beginning, dear Yana. That is, we remind you that you're laying out the foundations of intention in very helpful ways. So we do understand that if you want to bake a cake in your world, you have to have the proper ingredients, or if you want to build something, you have to have the right materials and the proper tools. So that is also an examination of what are the tools that you resonate with? And here you may want to also realize that there is a part of you that is so fond of natural energies, the sweetness of the physical world. We mean, for instance, the texture of root bark on surface of trees, the presence of animals, the feeling of heat emanating from fire, the feeling of the sound of water moving about in the creek. These are all things that you are very fond of. And that is that our encouragement is that when you move into prana yana, which we remind you also means knowledge in a certain sacred language of your kind, that is that you are actually moving into something that is more disembodied, and that doesn't quite suit you. So you would have to, we could say, find replacements that speak to this sense of happiness. That is, the more you, let's say, replace the need for physical nourishment with a type of appreciation of these things, this natural world that surrounds you, the more you will find that this sacred knowledge is guiding you, and that you are feeling that you take in more and more of this vitalizing energy. So it is simply to not deny yourself anything, but find alternatives that express, let's say, a higher, happier frequency of the same attitude of gratitude, the same appreciation that is inherent in your being. And notice that we are also playing around with the words here, because you may find that your life as you move into this is becoming more and more synchronistic, more and more meaningfully orchestrated. And that is, you are all on different parts of your path. But if you find yourself in spaces where you are struggling to release something, to let go of something, then look for the meaningful clues in your immediate existence, because they are everywhere, in your names, in the songs that pop up in your head that you can't get out of it again, in the different impulses, in the things that arrest your attention, in your breath itself. There are deep clues to who you are, and there are deep clues to you being guided. Therefore, do go out appreciating, and this magical elixir of life, of Holy Spirit, of prana will find you and move you, stir you upwards and onwards. Our love and our blessings.
Excellent. Thank you. Remnock asks, greetings. Can I ask for a blessing for healing in my body and to remove resistance or beliefs, and shed light on any beliefs that are holding me back from my greatest good in my earthly existence?
Yes. First, we could say, if we would like to we are asking this mind that is translating us to arrange a proper sequence of answers here. That is, we are beaming this in as a type of composite. And what you may find in your life is that you are beaming in a type of composite. You are surrounded by so much strong energy that really wants to merge with you. So the prana, the spiritual force, is already there. But there are certain beliefs, such as in the belief that one must suffer to be a good human being. There is also the belief that one must work hard and contribute to prove their worth. We could say the first belief does not necessarily serve your species in this now moment. Suffering will find you simply because it's difficult having a body that is breaking down its time suit as you travel in it. So there's no need to latch onto that, because the deeper frequency beyond that is the frequency of deep life, deep vitality. Then there is the other belief, and that is that one must work hard and contribute. But notice that you are a contribution. You are someone who already assists naturally. You have a benevolent heart, and there is no need for you to make amends for that. There is no need for you to prove yourself in that sense, because you are actually exuding it in every moment. And know that when someone is in need of your assistance, is in need of your help, you will not be in doubt. That is, as it is often said to you human beings, you can't necessarily save the world, but surely if you come across a place where somebody is drowning or in a car accident, you will know that here you are called to step in and do what you can to help this person. And that is enough. That is enough for you to know that you have this instinct, because it is a type of deep relaxation that wants to find you. And what we sense is that you have moved through many lifetimes of, these are quite harsh in the way that you have actually, let's say, suffered for higher truth. So you may find that we believe, perhaps the word in English may be flagellism, or this type of monastic tradition that is alive in some traditions. We believe the Shiites, and in some Catholic traditions, it is still undertaken that people will simply lash themselves until they bleed. These types of asceticism, they do not serve you anymore. So find out what you need to give yourself, and be the one who gives yourself the gift of well-being every day. We sense that such gifts may come from, for instance, you reclining more. And we sense that if you could do something about, this is not, again, something you have to do, it's a gift that you're giving yourself. But if you would lie back and prop yourself up, it is often done, for instance, with 2 blocks, but you can do it with a blanket or a stack of pillows or something similar, and simply place something between your shoulder blades and allow yourself to sink back while your head is supported, and lie here for 5 to 10 minutes a day. You can even give yourself the gift of lying here for 20 if you like. This would be the type of relaxation that would really open it up, because there is much tension that does not serve you, and that stem from hardships that you have suffered for, because you have a loving heart, and this was the way that you proved your love to the divine. But in this lifetime, you get to call it quits from this energy. You get to put those ascetic lifetimes behind you. We also sense, for instance, there is a lifetime here where you practice this type of being walled in. That is, you may have heard that in some traditions, people would simply build a wall and leave you in a cell, and then come put a little food, exactly what you needed to sustain yourself in there, so you could be alone with the Lord or the divine, whatever you wish to call it. And then you may want to give yourself the gift of quietude instead, of stillness, of examining this. And we sense different ideas such as silent retreats, or these types of, we believe they are also practiced, like dark, we are not quite sure of the modern term. Our friend here is trying to recall it from his recall centers. We believe it's perhaps called dark rooming or something, which is again this practice, but in a far more gentle, far more loving way that is being examined and practiced again. So these are ways that you can bridge these gaps that you are looking for. And there, know that you may also find that there is a sense of community, for instance, around these types of silent retreats, quite paradoxically, where you would find that the need to prove yourself, the need to second guess yourself will slowly dissipate, and you will surrender to receiving that frequency of love from the outside, so you can understand that you are already transmitting that love, and that's the only reason that you are able to feel it and receive it. And then we would like to give you this energetic lift. Ride on and be proud of what you have achieved, because what you have achieved is love, and this love is bound to expand. Love being the frequency of truth, love being the frequency of the seeker that seeks with an open and honest heart. And for that we thank you, dear one. Our love to you and our blessings.
Yes, hello, greetings, Unicorn. It's Salish here, just popped in. Thank you for the messages earlier on. Follow up on the River Nile. Strangely, I was born in Uganda, which is the source of the River Nile. Any comments on that as well, please?
Well, you may sense also, we are aware that this day you are in many ways dealing with the negative cycle of life and death. So you may sense that you are actually finding out where death has been a companion for you in this lifetime. And then as you move down the River Nile, you are restoring yourself. You are moving back to the newborn state, this state of the resurrection, this state of reawakening. And that will fulfill a deep cycle where much pain, much grief will be released. So you are definitely being called home to these energies, because this is the restoration that you are undertaking. And this is also a place where we could say, give death its proper place, so it does not present its tyranny in random spaces or in places where it pops up, whether they are internal or external.
Something just happened this very second. I think earlier on at 5 o'clock, I came into hospital with my uncle, who's on his last stages. And this very second now, as you were talking to me, my brother has been admitted with a heart attack in the same hospital. What is the energetic message behind this?
We see that much of your family carries a deep grief within it. They carry a deep sense of loss within them. And it is as if this proliferates. So there is, because you are also a tight-knit family, a type of, we hesitate to use the word contagion, but it is this feeling that your brother is overwhelmed by that grief. He is weighed down by it. And we sense that his heart attack will be an encouragement for him to move back into his own sense of vitality, that he is not yet to die, but that this is a sign that death is something that is close to you in your family and in your experience, and that you are then undertaking both for yourself, but for your generation, for your family. You are seeking also that wellspring of life to restore it and bring it back. And the more you can encourage your brother again to seek out the enjoyments that he found in his childhood, the more he will be healed, the more he will find himself recovering from this. And we extend our love and compassion, also knowing that and reminding you that angels are present and surrounding you and those of your family that are close to these transitional spaces.
This is just an additional thing on top of this. Is my calling to be a healer, because I'm about to undergo a DNA activation, healing at the deactivation level, Reiki master in the part previously, and also will be undergoing a healing, a teacher's course in the next 2-3 weeks, and also something known through a healing device, which is another way of healing. So it looks as if I'm guided that way, pointed that way, that I'll be an interdimensional healer. What is your take on that?
Our take is that yes, indeed, it would be very strange for you to feel called to do these things, be interested in them, and to take them in and seek them out, to spend energy, effort on them, if that was not something that was embedded deep within your soul purpose. So that is perhaps a complicated way of saying yes, but also to remind you that you are guided into these arts, to these healing gifts at exactly the time in your life when they are needed for your surroundings.
I thank you, and you are loved.
You are spending our deep love, our compassion, and our blessings to you, your family, those ailing in this moment, and to all human beings gathered here and alive in this moment and all moments.
Okay, the next question from YouTube is from Susan Matson. Hi, hope you all thrive. Question. I have heard prophecies of the Earth's magnetic plates changing land masses within the next 20 years. What do you know of this positive change? Thanks. Blessings, Suzanne.
Well, what we can say is that your planet is certainly reconfiguring itself. We can say that you will know and notice, your sciences have already discovered that the polar points tend to move about a bit. And we do the reason we are hesitating is because we know that there is a certain level of censorship imposed on sharing these informations. That is, it is also not necessarily for humans to know where the cataclysms may arise, because that would keep you, let's say, too worried or preoccupied with things that you do not wish to be preoccupied with. That's not then a circumspect way of saying that well, this will happen. The poles will shift intensely and dramatically. But what you may sense is that your ongoing atmospheric crisis, those things you, for instance, connect to, the increasing amounts of CO2 in your atmosphere, that those will be somewhat tempered by the fact that the polar caps are moving downwards and upwards. So essentially, the North Pole is moving further into the spaces of northern Canada and down situated in this direction. And the South Pole is moving more up into the Pacific spaces and closer to the continent of Australia. And this will begin to realign your ocean currents. So you will sense that some areas that are becoming warmer will be significantly cooled by this process. And some quite cool areas, I mean this literally, they will begin to become slightly warmer. This is a part of you then also being a species that will learn to, as you move into ascension experience, to focus yourself and travel along this grid. So, and also use this grid to project yourself off planet in astral travel experiences. So there are great secrets being opened, and you will find that when, in particular, the South Pole becomes more accessible, clues of ancient civilizations will begin to turn up that are far, far older than even those things that you have unearthed in Asia Minor in later years. You will discover the deep ancient qualities of your species. And we thank you for that very interesting question, hoping that we were able to illuminate you by our answer. Our love.
Interesting. Thank you for that answer. So Lori Riley asks, greetings, dear unicorn and everyone. My husband and I have found our dream home in the country on a beautiful river. Life is extremely busy, but exciting. Any messages for me? Do I have a unicorn guide?
Well, you may sense that you are quite the accomplished unicorn rider. Otherwise, they wouldn't have brought you to that wonderful candy land of your existence. We are playing around here, but we can tell you that notice that this level of manifestation, as we pointed out in the beginning, is often a clue, a clear indication that the truth of your vibration is beginning to reach you, has reached you, so that you find your life reflecting very much the happy, wondrous, wonderful qualities of your inner self, things that you may feel that you have also had to suppress or keep down in your life. And yes, they are very much guiding you there. So notice a dream house by a moving body of water that restores and renews. This is quite magical. And we would even encourage you to, perhaps you would want to get a type of filter to do this, to make sure you are not picking up certain bacteria or fish eggs or similar, but that you would actually begin to also drink from the local water running on your lot, because this will give a lot of connection. They will really expand the magic of where you are staying. And then we can say that there is a unicorn guide here, and he calls himself Unuk, U-N-U-K. You can also spell it with a C if you want. It's quite close to unicorn, isn't it? Unuk, and that is, well, he's essentially, we could say, the type of the one who draws the chariot of your dreams and has brought you there. And he greets you, he thanks you for you following him and following your heart. And he assures you that you may feel it's a dream house, but even if you pinch yourself, it is still there. So it is quite solid and it is yours to have and enjoy. So do enjoy it with the blessings and the love of your unicorn guide and all the unicorns. Do enjoy this wonderful space you have created. Our love and our blessings.
Excellent. Thank you for that. So Alexis Water 23 asks, how do I get along with unicorns? What do you love or enjoy? Would working with unicorns be a good idea for me? Thank you.
We love everything that is of a bright and mesmerizing quality. That is, we do enjoy the brilliance of things in different ways. We do enjoy the light reflecting off the surfaces. We do enjoy the rich interplay of colors. We are also quite fond of anything that are horse brethren, we could say, that these equine beings that exist in your dimensions, that they also enjoy. We do enjoy, again, running, stretching our legs, being allowed to roam freely. And well, if you were to ask the unicorns if it would be a good idea for you to work with us, well, what do you think? That is an affirmative. Please do work with our energy. It is inviting you constantly to allow yourself to be carried away, to be whisked away, to find that name spirit within yourself, that spirit that also moves energy through you with a sense of pleasure and enjoyment, that whinnies in wonder over all things that it encounters that are bright and of an inspiring nature. So yes, we invite you to work with us, dear one, and we thank you for even thinking about it. We will thank you triply, quadruply, many, 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 many more times if you begin to invite us into your lives. With our deepest love, our sincere blessings, we thank you for that intention.
Excellent. So in closing, I'd like a message for my highest good that would serve the group. And then I'd also like to dovetail it into Jana's second question, which entails, how do I bring myself to a state of happiness without needing particular circumstances to be present? Much love.
Yes. And that notice then, we could say that this message for you, dear Kevin, is indeed this uncircumstantial happiness. That is, that the less is expected, the more is received. The more is received, the more is enjoyed. So for you, you may sense that the fewer outcomes concern you, the more positive you will actually experience the very positive outcomes that come up in your life. And this is in many ways the recipe for human happiness. It is to begin to identify not with what is being sought, but with the seeker itself, with the thing that still has a curious energy, that has not lost its appetite for what is new, for what is interesting, for what excites it. And none of you would be gathered here today. None of you would be bothered to interact with the messages that are transmitted through this body or other such vessels, making them available to these benevolent messages from the higher dimensions. If that wasn't a deep, unbroken instinct within you, something that the world had been unable to touch or obscure or make you forget, you are all beings that retain, insist almost stubbornly that wonder is your birthright, that the miracle has to exist. And indeed, we assure you, it does exist. It is present for all of you. And sensing that this has answered both these wonderful questions, we would like to transmit some of our light language, of our way of communicating in these tonal vibrations. And with that most enjoyable transmission, we thank you for sharing the deep wonder here. And we encourage all of you to allow yourself to seat yourself on our backs and to go riding across horizons and over the rainbow with our deepest love, our gratitude, and our blessings. In peace, in wonder, in miracle, we the unicorns, we say farewell to you on this day, this magic day of holy numbers, 1111 to you all, dear ones. Oh, thank you so much, guys. I had a lot of fun from my part. This is one of the most interesting, funny energies I have ever held. I think they were so bright. It was like, for me, it felt like energy, fey energy merged with angelic energy, something so sweet and sincere. And you can tell I'm kind of also the light language stuff, which felt really silly. It kind of blew me away. So better go rest up, and I'll wish you a very happy 11/11 too, and just thank you for the beauty unfolding here today. I hope it served you, and I hope you're feeling inspired and uplifted by that energy. So wherever you may find yourself on this moment, love and light, guys. Have a wonderful day / evening and weekend. Much love.